everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. We are doing Junk Journal July, day number 21, contrast. So, I had an idea today to just do something that is a little bit different. I want to make a little bit of collage fodder. So I'm going to be using a piece of watercolor paper. This is cold pressed finish watercolor paper from Fluid. It is a 9 by 12 sheet. And I only need one. It's a nice heavyweight paper. This is 140 pound or 300 GSM. So what I'd like to do today is use butterflies and moths as my inspiration to play with contrast. And I want to do a technique that's like going to allow me to have a basis to sort of use contrasting colors and blending to paint these butterflies slash moths. So the other thing I want to do is use up some materials. As always, I'm desperate to use up materials. So we have this piece of watercolor paper. So let's imagine the body of a butterfly or a moth is the first thing that we want to create, because it kind of gives you like the basis, right, for painting wings. And I think, you know, they're pretty they're not super overwhelming as a thing that you can paint or draw, even if you're not a painter or drawer. So I'm just going to create with this is 3-in-1 glue. Also, interesting thing. So Beacon is the creator of Fabri-Tac 3-in-1. They also make this foam and poster board adhesive, which is the exact same glue that I find at Dollar Tree. These little bottles at Dollar Tree are amazing. Like I can't say enough good things. They're great. They don't like get clogged. They don't get you know, they don't like stop letting the glue come down for some reason. Other things do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue on, in this case, a little piece of fabric. That is going to be the body for this. Then I'm going to just think about the wing size, and then the wing size again, a single wing, how big would that be, to give enough space to paint another butterfly or moth. This time I am going to get a little bit of thread here. This is embroidery floss. Color or what have you does not matter, because we're going to actually zigzag stitch right over this whole thing on the sewing machine. So I'm just going to twist it like this to just make it sort of a singular thing. And then I'm not going to worry about the tail right now. I'll come back after I've sewn to clip the extra bit. So then again, wing space for the next butterfly, wing space for the next butterfly. So that means I can do about 4 butterflies there. And I'm not going to get greedy. I'm going to just do a second set down here. I'm not going to try to get a third, even though I probably could if I was making them little, but knowing my desire to like paint things probably for far too long, I'll want to add more and more color and details, so I'll just give myself a little bit of breathing room. Okay, and I am posting this video much later. I know it's been a day. I was going to post jokingly a video, and my theme was going to be contrast, and the contrast was going to be on most days I post a video. Today's contrast is that I'm not. It's just been a day of busyness, but that's okay. I'm happy I actually get the opportunity to do this today, because yeah. Okay. And you may hear my dog whining. He's fine. He's just waiting for my son to finish his dessert so that he can go for his walk. But he is a very dramatic boy when he wants what he wants. Okay, I'll pop that down. Okay, let's do another fabric one. So I'll do a couple more fabric ones. I've got the fabric right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my sewing machine with some darker color thread, And when I go to the sewing machine, I'm going to zigzag stitch over these to keep them on this thick watercolor paper. I'm not really going to give a lot of time for this to dry. I don't think it will be a big deal. I've never gummed up my sewing machine before with glue, and I rarely wait like until anything is dry. You could also wait, obviously, but because I'm zigzagging, I'm not going to be driving the needle through the wet glue, so I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. If you don't have scraps of thread and fabric, you can also use yarn. I think yarn would actually be a wonderful thing to use for this project because it already has like a rounded, you know, texture, and it's going to be nice and easy to lay down. You could also use a little branch. A branch would be really pretty. A little tiny, like a willow branch or something, right? That would be very nice. And when you're zigzagging on a sewing machine, you know, you're going back and forth, you can trap it under there. I do that all the time on my sewing machine, so, you know, don't be afraid. Okay, I'll be right back. So these are all stitched now, and this is what they look like. So what I did with these is I did do a zigzag, but I dragged, once it zigzagged down, I pushed it back up, and then I let it zigzag down twice. So that's why I've got quite a pile up of stitches. This one got really nice and messy and fun. This one I accidentally got distracted and I sewed a little higher than I intended to, but that's okay. It's not going to matter when once we do what we're doing. So we've got the stitching down. That was fun, actually. So now I'm just going to very simply, I have this little palette, little limited palette, which is perfect. It's kind of like a color wheel, really, that I'm going to be using with these. So the idea is for each moth or butterfly, I'm going to create a contrasting color, you know, color scheme for each one. So maybe we'll start with orange and blue. So I'll start with, you know, a bit of a deeper blue, and I'm just going to sort of try to create the top wings first. And if it helps you, you can go ahead and get a picture of a moth to help you create a moth or a butterfly, you know, or you can just have fun and create free form and not really worry too hard. Now, one thing I think that's a good thing to do, doing these contrasting colors, is don't just use one shade. Come in with a couple shades of each of the contrasting colors. Now, you might have to mix a new shade by adding white or black or, you know, whatever variants that you want to. So I think we've got a nice amount of blues. Now I'll come in, this is a little wet, let me just dump the palette off a bit. I'm going to come in with some orange, and then I'll think about it, right? What do I want to do with the orange to kind of make this moth? I'm going to come in and just add a dot there and there, and maybe a little one toward the edge up here. And that color is watercolor, so it's going to spread around. Then I have another variation here that I can add maybe to the inner section here of the body. This is sort of almost like a Caucasian skin tone, but I think I'm going to use it with a bit of yellow to call it like orangey. Then I can add a little of the actual orange that I just used to it as well, and that'll give it a little bit of color tone. You can also at this stage decide if you want to add color on the body. I'm not going to in this case. And then just decide, like, am I happy with this shape? Do I feel like I need to fill it out more? I'm actually happy with it. I'm happy with it as it is. So now I'm going to come in on the next one and do reds and greens. And then maybe I'll change the shape of the wing a little bit. I'm going to get a little more freestyle, and you kind of work with the space that you have. You know, we've got a little bit of a space there that we can play with. And then I'll come in with this darker kind of, or sort of hotter red on top of the magenta red. Just kind of take some different fun little swipes at it. Okay. And you can choose to dry in between if you want to. I'm not going to because I really do like the fact that the colors are kind of blending. So I'm just going to come in the middle here with a little bit of this light green and just pull it inward. And then you can decide, do I want to have anything more on the wing or not? Maybe toward the tips I'll put a little bit of the green. Okay. And then we have yellow and purple maybe. What shade is this? Is this a blue? Hold on. Yeah, I need to get a little palette here. Well, it's got some white in it. Actually, that might be okay. I'll put a bit of this blue in here. And maybe some of this red. And we'll create a new purple that I don't even have on this palette. Okay. Now let's come in and we'll create the purple first. My dog is whining. Let me do this and this. My son's just getting a little bath, and then they're going to take the dogs out. So if you hear dog whining, you're thinking, what's wrong with that poor dog? He's fine. He's only been in his crate for like 15 minutes. But he knows what's coming. He knows it's time to go out. Okay, so then a little bit of this lighter violet maybe. Contrast around the edges of the wings with that. Then I will add some yellow, because that's our contrasting color, and I'm going to go with like a nice little daub on each of the tops of these wings. And then maybe a little one down here. Yeah, that's good. So then maybe I'll do an opposite. We'll start with a yellow. Just play with a shape here. Okay. And then I'll grab some of this purple. Okay. So now, what else do we need? We need maybe a green. Let's start with a green. Like a round top wing and then a longer wing down at the bottom, and then we'll end it with a round as well. These are magical moths, right? We don't need to. I've decided they're moths. They're not butterflies, they're moths. Okay. And then the other color this needs is a little bit of red. Contrast. And you see the colors kind of, when they're like wet, you know, they're going to dance on top of this. Like, see how that's just spreading and dancing upward? I'm just going to let that happen. So now let's start with an orange. And then I'll come in with a blue. Like a line that comes down this way, and then maybe another one. Okay, and let's do a nice bright blue. Then, what is the difference between this blue and that blue? Not much, actually. Okay, so now we need to add some contrast again with our orange. I'm going to do some little dots here. Let's let that orange kind of spread outward. And then we'll pull some in. And the color is actually blending, which is kind of nice. It's giving it like a greenish tone, but there's still some orange dancing in the background there. Let's do another purple, but we'll do like a violet as the base. I'm gonna move these out of the way a little bit here. Okay, I need to clean this palette because I've gotten it a little too wet. I'm just gonna do that with a book page real quick because I don't have a paper towel handy. Let's pick up the excess paint here. Well, that's kind of fun. More collage fodder accidentally happening. Okay, now let's grab more yellow. We'll come up like so. Okay, so I think I'm happy with those. Now I'm thinking because these are moths, I want to do one more thing with them. Let me just check. Okay, maybe I'll start with a pencil if I have a pencil handy here. I do not know if I have a pencil here. I have a pencil. Perfect. So you know how moths, they sometimes have these little things that kind of come up like this? They're like, I don't know, little like oversized eyebrows, let's just say. I want to draw those, and I feel confident that I can do that, so I will use my black pen to do that. Okay, and then let me just add a little bit of line around the body. Not super defined or anything. What size micron is this? An 8. Do I have a bigger one? Oh, this is an 8, but that one's running out, so let's see if this one works any better. A little bit, yeah. Okay. And this one we need to cover these holes up. I want these to be a little irregular. I'm not going for like straight. Okay, this one. Okay, this one, I don't have as much space to play with, so these will have to be slightly littler. Okay. There we go. All right. So if you wanted to, you could come in and you could do a couple more down here. But what I'm going to do now is just let this dry, and then I will come back and I will cut one of them out with you and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so these are dry. Now I think what I'll do is I'm just going to separate them one at a time from the whole piece of paper. And basically when I fussy cut them out, I am going to leave just a tiny little bit of white around them. If they didn't have the antenna up there or whatever, those little exaggerated eyebrows, I might cut them out right up to, you know, the wings. But because I know I won't be able to like define closely enough with my cutting these little eyebrows, I want to give, you know, equal white space sort of around them. I actually have really grown to enjoy the framing of the white space around things that I make for collage fodder anyways, because I don't know, it gives you options to ink if you want to, and you can even use a color similar to that which you're putting on the page that you're attaching this to. So like that gives you like another element of artistic kind of signature when you're creating with these. Okay, so that's how I'm cutting them out, and they are really cute. I'm really happy with these little guys. So I'll cut them all out and I'll come back and show them to you. Okay, so they're all cut out and dry, and I really like them. They're so cute. Yay! I think they'll be a lot of fun collaging with. Just a fun little project for today, something to play with contrasting colors in a fun way, and some nice collage fodder. So yeah, I think I would quite enjoy adding them to something, you know, a journal card. Here we have this artist and she's painting, and you know, maybe we'd do something fun and we'd do some text and we'd do some grunging and stuff. But yeah, I really think those are going to be a lot of fun to play with. So hopefully you'll give them a try. Let me know, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.